Warning, this podcast will contain mentions of death and paranormal activity. Hey guys, so here's the situation. My best friend, Caitlin, you'll meet her in the next episode, introduced me to the 2014 investigation of Elisa Lam at the Cecil Hotel. Needless to say, I was intrigued, so I decided to do some digging, and as any good host does, I'm bringing you along for the ride. I am Aleia Golding, and you are listening to The Unexplained.
Investigation is unfolding at a downtown LA hotel.
The body of a young woman was found in a water tank.
Our story starts off with a stressed out Canadian uni student. I think everyone can relate to how overwhelming school can be. I know I can. Trying to keep up with the homework, get good grades, and maintain a social life can be too much for anyone. Poor Elisa was feeling the stress and decided a holiday was a good idea. However, her parents disagreed and were reluctant to let her travel by herself as she was an inexperienced 21-year-old girl who had never travelled alone before. They insisted that if she were to leave, then she must keep in contact with them through daily phone calls. Elisa agreed and set off to the City of Angels. With a name as innocent as that, you would expect Elisa's trip to be safe, happy, and fun. However, it was anything but. Sure, she enjoyed herself during the first part of her trip, travelling and being a tourist. She even made friends with some of the other people in her building, where she had been staying, the Cecil Hotel. However, when her parents didn't hear from her on January 31st, the day she was scheduled to go home, they knew something was wrong and grew worried. After contacting the LA police, they were informed that their daughter was now a missing persons case. Elisa's disappearance had been widely reported after some questionable footage was released of her in an elevator. In the footage, she pushed down all the floor buttons and quickly darted to the corner of the elevator, keeping her head down and remaining silent. She would occasionally stamp one foot out and madly look in both directions before retreating into her corner. She seemed to be in control of her actions and know what she was doing, but this theory is contradicted by the permanent look of terror etched on her young face. After about 4 minutes, she got off at the 10th floor, but this makes no sense as her room at this point was on the 5th floor. This wasn't the only room Lam stayed at while at the hotel, as she was moved to her own room 2 days later on an unmentioned floor. The move occurred after complaints from her unknown roommates about what the hotel's lawyer would later classify as certain odd behaviour. I decided to research the hotel to see if I could find any clues as to where Elisa could be, and I found some weird results. The hotel is located on LA's main street as a budget hotel, which could explain why our uni student would want to stay there. It all seems relatively normal at first, built on December 20th, 1924, by 3 hoteliers who invested roughly $2.5 million each into the project, and in the following years, the managers came and went. This all seems normal. However, as I was channeling my inner detective, I discovered a horrifying reputation for violence, suicide, and murder. I am beginning to wonder why Elisa was so willing to risk her life and stay at this hotel. There are at least 16 reported deaths at the hotel, most ruled as suicide. However, they are all unexplained, the details shrouded in mystery. 8 people supposedly fell off the building. 1 woman threw her newborn baby out the window after giving birth, and 2 people ingested poison. These are only some of the cases, and they all don't sound quite right. I am left with even more questions than I had before. How does this tie into Elisa's case? What made these people kill themselves? And, as it turns out, due to the cheap rent and bad neighbourhood, the building was a popular home for former inmates, illegal activity, and most disturbingly, serial killers. 2 of the more famous killers who stayed at the hotel are Richard Ramirez, more commonly known as Night Stalker, and Jack Unterweger. When I discovered the serial killers, I had to dig a little deeper, and I found out that between them, they committed a suspected 25 murders. They were all women, either staying at the hotel or alleged sex workers working in the area. During their time at the hotel, they would often return bloody or half naked, yet the residents wouldn't bat an eye, proving just how dangerous the Cecil Hotel really is. This could explain the aforementioned suicides of those who ingested poison or fell off the building. Because, like so many other people, I am certain that they weren't suicides at all, but murders. Is this why Elisa disappeared? Did she get involved with the wrong person? Was she simply a victim of a killer looking for their next target? On February 19th, after weeks of receiving complaints about the hotel's water pressure, as well as a funny taste in the water and discoloration, a maintenance worker finally decided to investigate, and laying face up, naked in the furthest water tank, was a young Asian female, Elisa. After the police had finished their investigation, her death was ruled as an accidental drowning. But there has to be more to it, right? I mean, who accidentally dies in a water tank on the roof of a supposedly haunted hotel? This question was answered when I looked at the toxicology report. Elisa had a number of medical drugs in her system for her bipolar disorder and depression. She hadn't been taking her medication properly, which, as a side effect, often leads to maniac episodes. This likely explains the elevator and her odd behaviour with her roommates, but after looking closely at the hotel, it still doesn't explain how she got to the roof. Elisa would have had to climb up a rusty ladder with no safety features, which would have been near impossible if she was mid-panic. She also would have had to deactivate alarms that only the employees have access to. The mere climb to the water tank is difficult for skilled employees, yet Elisa just shows up dead? It doesn't seem right. With such little information, it is impossible to know just how Elisa died. Was it murder, suicide, an accident as the police suggest? Tune in next episode with Caitlin to explore the paranormal conspiracies surrounding her death.